Hello Straters, it's CreepEvee and we are back again in Pauper this week with one of the more interesting decks I think that we've played, at least I think so. It's a weird one, but I'm really digging it actually. So I was browsing around on Tapped Out because I have not had much time at all this week to really look at decks and try to come up with things. So I was just browsing through really quickly, and this one's different. I was interested because I do like Goblins in different formats. So I saw that this was a Goblins deck, and so I wanted to check it out, and I was not disappointed. This is an interesting one. So of course I will leave the link to that deck in the description. Of course, all credit goes to them. I do have a few criticisms of the deck that I'll kind of go over in a minute, but first off, let's go over it. And essentially, we're going to center around comboing off with Goblin Bushwhacker. Wouldn't be the first deck to try to do this, but does it in a pretty interesting way. At least I think so. So if you don't know what he does, he is a 1-drop, but if you kick him for 1 red, he comes in and gives all of your creatures, or is it all goblins? Or no, it was all creatures. Okay, so all creatures +1/+0 and haste until end of turn. So it doesn't seem like much unless you have a ton of creatures on board, which is what our goal is. To accomplish that, we play Krenko's Command. Gives us 2 red goblins for 2. Dragon Fodder does the exact same thing. And Kadoltho's Rebirth, we sack off an artifact and put out 3 red goblins. So you can create very big boards of goblins very quickly. And I was honestly shocked at just how quickly you can generate boards with this deck. I was really skeptical of it at first, but I very impressed by just how fast it is. It doesn't take much for goblins to be fast, but this deck did impress me pretty well. As far as our other goblin, we only have one other goblin, which is Goblin Electromancer, a blue-red, and our instant sorcery spells cost 1 less. Of course, everybody knows this guy if you played Storm. This deck is quite stormish. There are 4 in here. Sorry, my mismatched foils. This deck actually has a bunch of mismatched foils in them because a lot of the cards that are in it are also in my Locust God deck, and I got foils for my Locust God deck since they're 1-ofs, but then trying to find 3 other copies of them were pretty difficult, so I ended up with like 3 non-foils and a foil, just like the Distant Melody. I really wish that you could just stack them together, but of course MTGO not always cooperating with me in the ways that I'd like them to. But we are going to also, because this is essentially a Storm deck, we want to play a lot of these spells in 1 turn, so we're going to need a lot of mana to do that. So we have some pretty interesting ritual spells. A ritual spell that I had never seen before, Brightstone Ritual, and you get 1 red for each goblin on the battlefield. So obviously this is going to generate a lot of value for us if we're casting as many goblins as we hope to be. Besides it, we have Battle Hymn, which is going to give us red mana for each creature we control, so going to be a very similar effect, just for 1 more. Hopefully going to be casting it for the same cost because of Goblin Electromancer. And of course we have Metamorphose for mana fixing as well as drawing cards, mainly kind of where it's at. It's a little bit of a weird inclusion in this deck. I mean, it does help with your color fixing, but I mean, it's there because you want to still be able to cast things for blue off of your red spells, or your red mana creation spells. I don't know whether I'd go with 4 copies of it, but I mean, it's not a bad card, obviously. I mean, it essentially is, it breaks even because you're gonna get, you pay 2 mana, you know, get 2 mana out. But of course, if you have Goblin Electromancer, it is a +1. But definitely not a bad card. There just might be some things that you might want to squeeze in for it instead. So as far as the rest of our spells, we are going to need to keep drawing cards, the thing that every Storm deck needs to be able to do. Your biggest draw spell in this deck is going to be 4 copies of the Distant Melody. You choose a creature type, draw cards, we'll draw a card for each permanent that we control of that type. So we're going to call Goblin and draw one for each one of these little tokens that we're making, which is going to be a lot of them. And just very easy to draw, you know, 7 cards in a single drop off of these. And with Goblin Electromancer and the massive amounts of mana that we're going to be making, it's very easy to drop this guy. Otherwise, we have Shared Discovery. I was a little bit skeptical of this card at first, but then I realized like how many tokens you're creating on average. Really doesn't matter, but you tap for untapped creatures that you control and draw 3 cards. So for a 1-drop draw spell, pretty darn good. This is actually the first time I'd seen this card too, and it is now in my Locust God deck, so I learned things. 2 copies of Preordain, just for your normal draw control spell. 4 Ponder. You could definitely mix and match these. You could go more Ponders, more Preordains. You could put in some Brainstorms, whatever suits your playstyle the best. And then 2 copies of Dispel, because you're dealing with a combo deck, so counter spells are your greatest enemy, so you want to be able to control those at instant speed. Finally, you just have 2 copies of Chromatic Star. These are here so that you have something to sack with Kadoltha Rebirth. Obviously, you do play the play artifact lands to assist with that. But whenever you sack whenever you sack the Chromatic Star, you do get to draw a card because it's leaving the battlefield for the graveyard. So you do get to draw off that. So some synergy there. I don't know how I feel about this. I really don't know how I feel about Kadoltha's Rebirth in general. You definitely need it, because just Kadoltha's Command and Dragon Fodder isn't enough. It's a very awkward card to try to fit into this deck. I feel like you could go up on the Chromatic Stars. I don't know whether 2 is enough, but generally in the testing that I found, you're at liberty to sacrifice some of these artifact lands a little bit more than you'd think that you would. So it's not as bad as it might seem on paper, because you're going to generate so much mana in a single turn that generally once you hit that curve, which honestly that curve is 2 mana, you're good. You're just going to use these mana spells to create so much mana that you're ready to win in a single turn, and you don't need these lands. So it seems a little bit bad on paper, but you are trying to win in one huge turn, so it's not as bad as you'd think. And but getting that plus off the Chromatic Star feels so good that you kind of want to play more Chromatic Stars. But for right now, I want to play the deck as the original build goes by, just to see how it goes. There is one change from the original build, and we'll get to that in the side deck. But so we're playing 4 of both of the artifact lands for our colors, respectively, the Great Furnace and Seed of Synod. 1 copy of a basic island, 3 mountains, because we have mixed-matched mountains. Oh, come on, Moto. Didn't you? Am I crazy, or did they not used to do that? I feel like they didn't. But anyway, 4 Swiftwater Cliffs, and that is it for our land base. Jumping over to our sideboard, this is where the one change is. We're playing 2 Manic Vandals instead of 2 Gorilla Shamans. Reason why is because Gorilla Shamans are like, the cheapest copy is like 17 bucks on MTGO. And I don't think you guys want to pay that, nor do I want to pay that. So Manic Vandal is like a few tenths of a tick So we're going to go with that as our destruction. But otherwise, we're playing 2 more Dispels against our counter matchups. 4 copies of Keep Watch. Don't really know exactly where we're going with this one, right? You draw a card for each attacking creature. He mentioned that you could side out like rituals for this, which for grindy matchups, but I really don't see what matchups you want this more than you want a ritual spell, because you already have a draw spell that can very easily deck you out in this deck, right? Like there's so much draw power behind this card. Trying to do it in the combat step doesn't give you as much value in this deck. I don't know. I haven't found a time where it really works out for me, but perhaps in testing we will find otherwise. But for right now, I'm a little bit skeptical of it. But 4 copies of it, 3 copies of Elect Trickery, 2 copies of Rites of Initiation. This is one of the cards that I said that I would talk about as far as changes that I would make. I would probably find a spot for these in the main deck. If you don't know what it does, it is a 1-drop red. You discard any number of random cards, and well, any number of cards at random, so you just randomly select them however many you want, and your creatures get +1/+0 until end of turn for each card discarded this way. I think this card is fine in the main deck. I don't know exactly what matchups you specifically would want to side this in for, whereas I think it works better just in the main deck in general. But we're going to try it like it is, but in the future I would consider maining this. And then finally we have 2 copies of Flaring Pain if our opponent is playing fog spells. That way we can continue to do all of our nastiness. Just as a 2-drop red that says that damage can't be prevented, with flashback costs for 1 red. So very good to have in this type of aggro deck, considering that we are going to try to win in 1 turn. And sometimes if we waste a Goblin Bushwhacker trigger, we can be put so far behind that we might not be able to catch back up. As far as other changes that I would make, I'd probably go up to a 3rd Goblin Bushwhacker. There have been times where I've kind of been reaching for it and not been able to find it. That would probably be my biggest criticism, besides some changes in the side deck. I definitely think that this has a spot in the main deck. As far as exactly where, I'd probably go down an Electromancer, but I'd probably go down the Electromancer for the Bushwhacker. Just down 1, because I mean, it's incredible because it synergizes so well with your ritual spells, as well as being able to just dump out these Krinkos commands and Dragon Fodders. But you know, it's a slow card to cast because you need 1 of each color in your deck, and also there are times where you're just ready to start comboing off and you don't need it, which is, you know, 4 just seems really heavy for the top of your curve, right? Well, besides Distant Melody. But that would just be one of the changes that I would make, that and go up. And like I said, I still don't know what I would do about this Chromatic Star. I don't know whether I want to just like cut them completely or go up on them. But you guys can let me know down in the comments what you think about that. But that is the deck. I haven't gotten to play too many matches with this because I've kind of been short on time this week, but I really want to jump into some games and see how it goes. So without further ado, I will see you guys in the games. Alright guys, this hand is kind of meh, but we're going to try it out. Our opponent is H Wheat G. Little known fact, I don't really know why you guys would know this fact, so it's probably pretty little known. I have a little bit of a reading disability. It's kind of weird because it's not really like exactly one thing or exactly another. It's not like full-blown dyslexia, but one of the things is I get H's and W's mixed up, and I have no idea why. That, and I don't really absorb what I read very well. Like, I can read an entire page and get virtually nothing out of it. Oh, and you see, I was about to say this looks like the infinite combo with that elf producing enchantment. Was just about to say that, but no, it is something far more fun to play against. Oh man, we gotta play against enchantments. Yay. But yeah, I've never been able to find anybody that can explain to me exactly what that is. Because dyslexia means that you're getting like all kinds of letters mixed up. For me, the only letters that I really mix up are H and W's. Don't know why those specifically for me, but I'm the only person I've ever heard of that only mixes those up. I don't say only, but primarily it's those. But anyway, enough about my personal life. I don't want you people to know anything about me. Despite the fact that I used to talk about myself a lot on my old YouTube channel. Alright, so not swinging with the armadillo cloaked up glade cover sprite, or scout should I say. Having a little bit of a reading disability is also not a good thing whenever you play Magic, because the names of some of these guys, man. Glade cover scout, there we go. If any of you have been living under a rock and don't know exactly how this deck works, they play a lot of one-drop, well, I say a lot, really 4 copies of 2 different one-drop hexproof creatures, and they slap a bunch of enchantments onto them because there are so many good enchantments in Pauper, and basically just play Bogles. It's pretty much Bogles because the Bogles play just about the same in whatever format you play them in. So if you played them in Modern, then you know how they play in Pauper. It's just they don't always play the Pilgrim. Normally you see like the Pilgrim in the Infinite Elf token deck that I was talking about. I'm trying to remember the name of that enchantment. Oh yeah, this is the other one besides the Slippery Boggle. Ledge Walker. That one was the one that, yeah. Can't be blocked with things with reach because of the weird way it's worded. Man, our turns are getting kind of boring here. It's playing more and more dragon fodders. Oh, I guess we haven't played a dragon fodder yet. This is exciting gameplay here on Magic Gathering Strat. We are amassing a little army though. For being stuck on 2 lands, we're doing okay. Whereas our opponent has been stuck on 2 lands and is doing much better than we are. But he does have mana dorks, so it doesn't count. I am fine with his board right now though, because it currently does not have that many enchantments on it. Now we're getting to a point where I don't like it. But technically we can block and kill it. So I doubt he'll attack, because that is a lot of investment to lose on one creature. Generally that's what Bogles want to do, is just make themselves huge. I really don't know why he wouldn't just attach it here, because I can't block this. Okay, so let's go. This is kind of tricky. Because this could get really good if I draw another land off Manamorphose, but I could just be wasting it. So let's go 1, 2, and then make red and blue. And then if we draw a red source, then we're doing really well. If we don't, then we don't. But that's fine. Now we can Brightstone Ritual. Basically, I wanted to be able to cheat another dragon fodder out before we dealt with this. But it's fine. We'll take 2 red here and make a blue and a red. Just so that we get a draw. Get a Great Furnace. Guess I probably should have made 2 blue there. Made casting the Electromancer a little bit easier. So then we can play Dragon Fodder for 1 red. And then play Distant Melody for 3 and draw 9 cards. Not bad. And hopefully get another fast mana spell and do some fun things. No fast mana, but trying to decide what I want to do here, because we can play Star, play a Furnace, and crack it with Rebirth, or do we want to play? Oh well, I guess we could play Seed of Synod and play Seed of Synod, and don't know what we want to do with that Seed of Synod, honestly. We could do something like Preordain or Ponder, and then just bust a Great Furnace. If we attack and he blocks one of our goblins, he gains 5 life right now, which is a problem. So I don't necessarily want to attack right now. So I think I just want to do this and get a draw off of it with Rebirth. I think that's the least greedy of all of our options. And although I normally don't take the least greedy of our options, as you guys will know if you've watched any of my videos, we're going to try to be a little bit more conservative here. See if we would have gone for the Preordain, we would have been able to really extend this play. Well, not even, because we wouldn't have had blue to work with, so it really wouldn't have changed much. But anyway, I'm just going to pass because, I mean, we can swing 6, he can block 1 of them and break even. That's just how good Lifelink is, basically. It's basically Lifelink. So now what do we discard? I think we discard an Electromancer, a Mountain, and a Ponder, because we just have so many draw spells. But that was a big turn for us, for sure. We did get to do quite a few things. I just wish that we could have finished up on something a little bit better. Unfortunately, we have gone through 2 Manamorphoses. Now we're getting into some problematic territory. Still don't know why he wouldn't put it on here. Well, I guess he's trying to capitalize the most on his lifelink, but that in mind, he probably should have just put it onto the Ledgewalker in the first place, but of course I don't know what's in his hand, so, and I don't play the deck regularly, so I think we have to let that through because it has first strike and trample, so there's really nothing that we can do to it right now. I mean, I could block all of the damage, but I don't really see the value in doing it. Whereas now, next turn, oh yeah, because this doesn't have lifelink, I forgot that. Alright, so it's weird because it doesn't give it lifelink. It says that whenever it does damage, it gains that much. So both of them have their own individual triggers, which is why this card is so ridiculous in this deck. So yeah, he's to 37 life now. Just in case you guys weren't paying attention, that happened. So I can draw like half my deck right now. That's one option that we have. Which honestly isn't a terrible idea, because we're going to have a lot of red mana, and with all of that red mana we can accomplish a lot. In fact, we could do it without playing the Brightstone Ritual, but it's really no reason not to, because we're going to want to play things once we drop them. So we're going to draw 12 here. I think we can probably win this turn, actually, because we drew the Bushwhacker. So let me see if I can see past my microphone well enough to figure out what we want to do here. Let's play the star. And then rebirth, getting rid of the star. Draw off of the star, because honestly I want the most goblins I can manage to draw. We definitely have game unless he has some type of instant speed, something to stop us, but I can't think of anything that he would have right now. But I want to see how much damage we can manage to do, you know. Could I actually go for another Distant Melody? How many cards do we have in deck? Let's go for it, because I honestly can't think of a way for him to stop us at this point. And I really want to see just how stupid we can make this. It's not enough to deck us out yet. I don't think. No. We'll get close, but we can't deck ourselves out yet. Yet is a very important word there. So we can rebirth. The important thing here is that we can play all of our spells, which is nice. We can sacrifice another land. We could actually put out all of our Electromancers too. Well, most of them, I think. We could just go ahead and play this ritual. I don't think it's going to matter all that much. We're definitely going overkill here, but I mean, I kind of want to. So we can make 2 blue here with this Manamorphose. Oh, we don't even need to pay 2. We just need to pay 1 because of our Electromancer. So we even have a Dispel now. And I guess let's just play the 2 Electromancers with the blue. We could play draw spells, but I think it's fine doing it like this. And then we'll cast with Kicker. So this may be the only board that could break our opponent's tremendous amount of life. So he definitely got himself into a unique situation. Mess with the wrong dudes today. I'm glad. Oh man, I was about to say I'm glad he's letting us just play this all the way out. But so that's how many goblins? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 30, 31. So that's a lot of damage. Cut to the oh, what is it? The Flex Seal commercial. That's a lot of damage. So Electrickeries. This deck is the entire reason why you play Electrickery. That and some token matchups, but this is why you play Electrickery. We can actually get rid of the Dispels because I don't think they do anything for us in this matchup. So, and then we could go down. Let's go down one Ponder. But yeah, you play the Electrickeries in this matchup because all of his Bogles essentially are 1 toughness before they do their things and get their attachments. And it doesn't target because they have hexproof. That's the important part. Okay, so we're going to be going second, I assume. So let's keep this for on the draw. Well, I'm happy with that. That was pretty good. We could lose these 2 games back to back now, but Abundant Growth first turn, that's not bad at all. And we'll pass. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That wasn't bad. Let's see. 30 goblins times 30, that's 90. Except one of them was well, 3, because we had 3 Electromancers, would have been 1 more. Oh man, we didn't draw another land. So we're gonna have to discard here. I guess we can just discard an Electromancer. I got super greedy on this hand, but it's so good. So much you can do with this hand if we draw 1 other land. Would almost like to mulligan just to see whether we could get an Electrickery in our opening hand, because you need it as quickly as you can against this deck, or else they'll just put on an enchantment and then be ahead of you. What's on the Ethereal Armor now? Huh. Well, we draw the wrong thing again. I guess we discard. I hate to discard a Dragon Fodder, but it does seem like the better thing. Let's just discard a Manamorphose here. Man, I feel silly for keeping this hand, especially after how well we did last game. Against this deck too, like, this is a tough deck to beat, especially with the gargantuan board that he made. Alright, well, this thing is an 8/8 now. But it doesn't have trample yet, I emphasize. At least we now have blockers unless this thing gets trample. Yeah, the electrickery not going to save us from it at this point. I was more so curious to just like add up the amount of actual mana we would be able to produce. Oh yeah, this thing can't be blocked. Okay, yeah. Forgot about that. No flyers on this deck. So we weren't really getting to anything to save us later. There's really nothing. I mean, the rite of initiations are always good, but I don't really see anything that I want to cut right now. This is a deck that I very much want to mess around with. I want to try to make this deck work because it's just so cool. And I honestly feel like there is a lot that you can do with this deck. I like this hand. Like, I mean, honestly, obviously that was an extreme case. Like, we really drew into the right things in the last game. But the point is, this deck is capable of doing that somewhat consistently. And it's pretty darn scary when it does. But yeah, I was actually, because I wanted to finish doing this video last night, but ran into some issues with my internet connection. It slowed to a crawl last night for some reason. But anyway, that led to me not being able to finish up because I legitimately could not get onto MTGO even early this morning. But so I was on the phone with one of my friends last night. He's out of town, but we were talking about this deck and just ideas for it. And I think that there's some real potential here. So this might be something that we come back to after I mess around with it a little bit more. There's the Ledge Walker. There is a Ponder that we can't really make use of right now. Oh man. Was really hoping that extra draw off of the star would get us where we needed to be here. Let's pass. Or no, let's attack with 2 because I do want to hold 1 back as a blocker for the Slippery Boggle. But he's actually at a minus if we hit him. Or hit one of his creatures, should I say. Any blockers. Or no, he's going to lose the Slippery Boggle. Which makes me think that he has something in hand to pump up this Ledge Walker. That gives me a pretty good feeling that that's what the case is. Gets himself back up to 20. Avacyn's Pilgrim. He definitely needs to have white open to really get going on the getting all of his thingamajiggies out. Well, there is an Electrickery. So normally you want to do this in response, but actually you still want to do that. I was thinking we had 3 goblins out. Yeah, you want to do that in response. And we could honestly just do it for 1 and hit the... Oh yeah, well we can't do it unless we overload it, because otherwise we have to target. But we can't swing now because we need both of these goblins out, because we need to Brightstone Ritual and then do that, which is why it's pretty awesome that Brightstone Ritual is an instant speed. Let's drop Ponder. What I was gonna say is if we had 3, then we could get multiple plays out of the Brightstone Ritual, but Bogles is actually a really fun deck to play, because there's just so much that you can do with them. So Brightstone gets us to 2. Okay, there we go. Overload the Electrickery. And Electrickery pretty much is this deck's kryptonite. There's really nothing that they can do against it. Except play another Boggle. That's usually they're out to that. Plays a Mana Dork, and we go back to not drawing anything. I'm actually not going to attack here because, well, so the reason I don't want to attack is if he blocks and kills 1, and then we draw a Brightstone Ritual and get into a position where we absolutely have to burn it to make mana, then it won't actually make us mana. So I don't want to go lower. If we had other lands out, then I would be down for it for sure, but we don't have any lands. Barely at all. 3 for the Ancestral Mask. Not doing anything for him right at the moment. Well, the Rebirth would be a lot better if we had other lands. Well, there's... I think that we're good to swing in now, because if he blocks, then that's fine. Like, I'll figure out a way around it if he does block. But if he wants to give up one of his Bogles, then I'm completely fine with that. Because we're not going to be able to block it anyway. So now the question is, does our opponent start slapping down enchantments left and right, which is probably true. Double Ancestral Mask makes things pretty gross. And a Rancor on top of that has him hitting for 11, unblockable to any creature that we have in our deck. That's rough. So pretty much we have to win this turn, and we're not able to do that. But that was a good game for both of us and our opponent. I'm not going to say it was a bad game for both of us. But, man, would have been nice to draw a land. Another Manamorphose, another Distant Melody. Would have taken us how many turns? 1, 2, 3, 4 turns just to draw into a land. Jeez. Well, let's just go back and look over the deck really quickly before we close things up here. Gonna close it off a little bit early just because I need to get to bed. I actually start my new job in the morning, so that is part of why I've been so busy, is getting ready for that, as well as just everything's been going on around here, and I've been snowed in over the past few days, but still somehow managing to be busy. It's amazing. But honestly, I'm really enjoying this deck, and I want to figure out some more things to do with it. Like I said, I would throw in like a Caravex Torch and a or a Rolling Thunder, like probably 2 of one or the other, and I'd probably go up to 3 Bushwhackers, probably cut this down to just 3 Electromancers, try to find a place for the Chromatic Star, and I'd even look into a way to include the Rites of Initiation in the main deck, and I would probably cut these Keep Watches from the side deck and find some other choices. Probably include at least 1 more copy of Flaring Pain, just because you lose immediately to fog decks. So that would probably be what my change-ups would be. But let me know what you think of the deck, what you would change or leave the same. That's just off the top of my head from testing it over the past couple days. But I really like this deck. It's super interesting to play. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. It's just entertaining. I mean, it's definitely my play style, and it might not be yours, but you can't deny that there is something pretty satisfying about winning in Pauper with 30 Goblins that are all hitting for 3 with haste. It's pretty satisfying to pull that off. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed it. And I hope that you guys are fine with me slowing down on videos a little bit. I am hoping to go back to 2 videos a week, but I have just been very busy recently. Like I said, I'm starting the new job as well as trying to move right now, so I've just been swamped. Starting tomorrow, I should know better what my schedule is going to look like, and that can help things out a lot. And once I get a little bit better idea on when the whole moving thing is going to take place, then that would be great. But I've spent my entire snowed in week shopping for homes online right now, so been very busy with that. So I appreciate you guys, you know, being patient with me. You know that I'd rather be making videos than doing that for sure, but that's life. It's always fun, but I think it'll be much better off once I can move. That'll free me up to be able to do videos frequently and hopefully improve the quality of them as well. And this job can help me not be broke, which is always fun. So with all of that being said, I guess we'll go into shilling. If you like the video, we do appreciate a like on the video. Shows your support, doesn't cost you anything. As well as subscribing to the channel. That way you can see all of my videos, including all of the videos from all the other great people here at Magic Gathering Strat. As far as my content, if you like what I do, you can head on down into the description where I have a link to my Facebook page as well as my YouTube channel. There you can find all the other things that I do for fun. Mainly do video gaming stuff. We have a Let's Play of Spider-Man 2000 going on for the N64 right now. Going to be putting up some more videos for that this week, so you don't want to miss out on that. And I think that's pretty much it for this week, guys. But let me know what you think, and I will see you guys in the next episode.